If you're feeling at all lonely or disconnected, or just curious about your true soul level connection with other people and with the divine and all things that exist, stay tuned to learn how to open up and experience your true divine love and connection whenever you need it. Because there is a way to connect with true love and support from other people, for example, without dealing with their egos and traumas. I think you'll like this one. Hi, and welcome back to the jungle. I'm Anna Pashanti, and today we're going to boldly cure loneliness once and for all by experiencing true love, support, and connection. In these times of high technology, as you know, we are more disconnected physically than ever before. Even when we're with other people, we can feel alone in a crowd or sitting next to someone. Especially being on our spiritual path, we really don't often feel seen or understood by someone who's sitting right next to us talking to us. And so it's very, very easy to feel alone. So we've been connecting to Source and having mystical experiences and learning that we are all one, and that is true and beautiful and right. And then on our spiritual path, we are told so many times that we shouldn't need anyone else. We know that we are all one, and that should be enough. We should find everything we need within. If we feel lonely, then we are not enlightened yet, and we need to heal more. And after healing more, then we won't need anyone else. And on one level, of course, we understand why people say that, but it's just not always enough. Yeah, it's great that we are loving ourselves first before someone else can love us, before we can experience divine love, fine. But loving ourselves alone does not have to be enough. It is okay to need other people. Why? Because our true nature is connection. That's the whole point. Our true nature is connection. And so when we are feeling separated, that is a sign that we need more connection, and that's okay. That's okay. That's who we are. So what if there was a way that you could feel deep down in your heart, truly connected to everyone around you, even when they're not on a spiritual path? Even when they've got their own personalities and egoic structures and traumas, and even when your opinions conflict. What if that were true? Well, we are rebel souls on our mystical paths, and so we know that it's possible because connection is literally who we are. So we know that by discovering our true nature, we break through the limitations and feelings of separation, and we unleash the power of our consciousness so we can make anything possible. So here's a question for you. With all of our spiritual awareness, how do we experience connection in such a disconnected world? I remember once I was writing messages with a friend who was sharing things on a very deep level, and I was sharing things on a very vulnerable level, and we really bonded. And she said, I really love you as a friend, just so grateful to have you in my life. And my heart just exploded with just pure love for this friend. And I felt it really viscerally, just in my body, in my heart. I really felt it. And it just kind of took me over. I didn't even have words. It was just such a beautiful feeling. And then later that night, I went to bed, I went to sleep, and then I woke up in the next morning, and I had 5 messages from 5 different people who, during the night, had been thinking about me, that they had a dream about me. They said they were missing me. Oh, I miss you. I had a dream about you. I was thinking about you. What are you up to? We haven't talked in such a long time. What's going on? Wow, I've really been thinking about you. So what just happened there? How does this feeling of love seem to travel like that? Yeah, what's happening? And how about also when you send a blessing to someone? You send healing energies to someone, yeah, with your positive intention. What is really happening there? How does this love and this blessing and this positive intention, how does all this beautiful energy actually travel around and hit everyone in the heart right in the right spot? Yeah, how does that happen? Okay, so let's go back to the basics. All things are created from the source field, like, for example, the ocean and the wave. So the wave appears separate, and it appears and disappears. It interacts with other waves depending on the movement of the water. It crashes against rocks. It crashes against boats. The waves are separate things, but there is no separation between the wave and the ocean at the same time. So now picture an empty universe, just as a thought experiment. This would be like the 0-point field, the void of pure consciousness that is source, pure unrealized possibilities. And the source field, then when it wants to just have this incredible experience of experiencing itself, of interacting with itself, of observing itself, of witnessing itself, it starts to condense its consciousness into form. Let's just think of it that way. There's no way to really explain it, but just as a thought experiment, yeah? So the source field is condensing its consciousness into form, and it just has a desire to see itself. That's just the only reason. It's condensing its own consciousness. And so when it does so, it observes reality into existence, and it collapses the infinite possibilities into finite particles. Now, that's what quantum physics teaches us, which we won't get into yet right now. And this is how it generates all things out of itself. It is the ocean, but it is creating a wave at the same time. And so if you think of it just as, let's say, a completely empty universe being the void of consciousness, and then when you see form starting to condense, before it becomes an object like a table or a desk or a planet or a person, it's just imagine this point of light. Imagine in this big black universe, you have points of light appearing like stars in a galaxy. And that would be the form starting to condense with the light of consciousness shining brightly, very, very brightly, more brightly there in that point, in that star, than the space around it, just to create something. And this is before it becomes individuated form, like a person or like a table or like a chair. And so you have this black universe, you have these beautiful stars popping up, and then imagine you have a network of light, like little tiny cables, like a spider web, of very thin lines of light connecting all of the stars to each other, connecting all of the points like a spider's web of light. And there's light just moving through the individual cables and through the individual lines of light. Yeah. This is what some people teach as the golden grid. Now, my experience of the golden grid is not how it's usually taught, like parallel lines and perpendicular lines and squares and rectangles. In my experience, that is not what it looked like. It was more very thin, delicate, curving golden lines of light. Countless tiny, delicate, curving lines, and the light was moving through the lines. The first time I experienced that in a meditation, I had no idea what it was, and it took me a really long time to figure out what it was. I did not understand it at all. But what it was now is what the Vedic texts call Indra's net. And so that's Indra Jala in the Sanskrit. That means kind of divine magic or illusion, because basically it is source creating these jewels or pearls or diamonds in a network. And the network is connecting each little diamond to each other. So you have all these diamonds connected in a net, and they're connected by these lines of light, like a spider's web or a network. And each of these diamonds, as a node in the network, each of these diamonds reflects all the other diamonds that exist. So you look into one diamond and you can see all the other diamonds that exist in the whole universe. And each diamond is like that. Every diamond is like that. And so the jewels or the pearls on this net, well, we are one of those. We are one of those diamonds in the net. Each one of us is a jewel, and we have this point in our heart space, the pearl or the diamond, where pure source consciousness comes out and shines so brightly. Just pure consciousness creating an individual soul or a stream of source consciousness that is us. And that is who we are. Later, it will individuate itself to have our characteristics and our personalities and our fears and desires and even our egos and traumas. Yeah, it's all part of all of our manifestations. Yeah. And then the more aware we are, the more this light shines through. And so let's say if you had this net of jewels or diamonds, and every little thing that exists is a diamond on this net, the ones that are more aware and have more consciousness would shine even brighter. So, like if you have tables and chairs, they might not shine quite as brightly as, let's say, a plant or an animal, because plants and animals are much more conscious and they're full of awareness. Yeah. And then people would be even brighter because we're even more self-aware. But with the more ego and sort of dense trauma you have, the less your light shines out. So that is why we do, for example, our healing work and all of our integration of the shadows and the dense egoic structures. We integrate that, not that we push anything away, but we integrate it to expand our consciousness beyond that so that we can let our source light illuminate that even more and be more aware of our true divine infinite nature. So that is how our love moves on the network. We are shining our light and our love, and it ripples out through the universe of diamonds on this net, on Indra's net, and it is reflected by all those other diamonds. And so that is why we affect each other so much. We understand we are all one, but that is really how it works if you want an image that you can use in your mind to really understand this. It's a metaphor, but it's actually something real. I've experienced it in meditation. Many people have. And you don't have to really see it, but if you understand how it works, it's so precious. It just makes life so magical. If you really think that the love that you are sending out to someone, it's really affecting them. It's really getting to them. It's really touching them and healing them. When you give them a blessing, when you send them healing energies. And so this can also help us sometimes have more compassion with people, perhaps. Even underneath their egos and traumas, we know what a beautiful shining diamond is underneath that. It doesn't mean that we, let people walk all over us. We still need our boundaries because we have this reality as well to deal with, yeah, where everyone's clashing their opinions and personalities. But on that deeper level, before that source light reaches that sort of dense egoic structure, before it reaches that structure, it is pure source light. And that pureness, that pure diamond in the heart of someone's soul is connected with everyone else's diamond. And the love and the energy just moves back and forth through it. That's kind of a magical way of thinking about it. And it's actually real. So it can really be healing if you learn to tap into this and let it in. It can be so healing to the heart, and it can dispel any loneliness or disconnection you might feel. All you have to do is connect to Indra's net. And to do this, of course, I've created a meditation to help you get into this exquisite web of light that is Indra's net. It will help you receive the love and support that is infinite and pure and there for you. And it will help you connect into that whenever you need it, because we all need it sometimes. The link is below, and it's called Divine Love and Connection. And it's the best cure for loneliness that you'll find. So Listen to the meditation and let me know what you think. And for those of you who are wanting to work with me, you can find the information below. I'll put everything there. So until we meet again, be brave, be the light that you are. Namaste, my friend.